is the promotion of Moses Itauma. He becomes the #1 on the WBO end for the WBO. He becomes the #1 ranked contender. Of course, Alexander Usyk is the champion, okay? And Joseph Parker is the interim champion, which normally the #1 is the interim, but he is the WBO interim world heavyweight champion, Joseph Parker. Then you have Moses Itauma, which is he's 12-0 now with 11 knockouts. And the problem is a lot of critics have stated that, hey, it's premature for Moses Itauma to be where he's at because he knocked out Mike Balagun, okay? Now, to counterpunch, in short, yes, it is rushed. It is premature. But that's been the whole narrative of Moses Itauma. So it's no surprise that he's being rushed. You know, beating Mike Balagun should not propel you to be #1 for anything. You know, if anybody should be bitching or complaining about this would be Hergovic or Zhang or Akali or even Jared Anderson, because those guys have fought and they fought, you know, like Jared Anderson, I know, has fought on the same level of competition is Moses Itauma. You know, we didn't get that outcome, though. You know, the outcome, I think the impact and the result of the knockout, right, I think has tempted, right, or persuaded the WBO to move him up the rankings, you know, and it just shows you how things are moving progressively. But of course, I feel that there's things that's happening behind the scenes that's helping this along as well. But you know, that's neither here or there. I think that Moses Itauma, you know, being the WBO is no surprise. I've always felt that he's being rushed because I think what they're trying to do, they're trying to make him one of the youngest heavyweights champions here. And that's how you do it, you know. It was an impressive knockout. However, you know, I have another video that speaks on the knockout of the possibilities of, you know, of what could have happened in that fight versus what did happen. But no, the good news is, you know, Itauma versus Hergovic is a thing that is in talks, you know, and that's a good thing because, you know, Hergovic was the #2. So if they're going to make Moses Itauma the #1, he should at least fight someone in the top 5. You know what I'm saying? At least. And the Hergovic fight, along with the Martin Bakali fight, are fights that are talked about. And I think the Hergovic fight would make more sense, especially if the critics have an issue with him being #1. So if they have that issue, at least he could do something that kind of fulfills why he's put in that position anyway. You know what I mean? I think that should justify the overall #1 ranked fighter on the WBO by taking out the #2. I think that would make more sense. That would shut a lot of people up. But of course, I don't think people should complain until he gets beat or something happens, and then people will backstep and then start pointing fingers. But understand that Moses Itauma is being rushed. He's being fast-tracked to do whatever he's, you know, he can do. You know, and as long as he keeps doing it, I don't think it should be a problem. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, nobody really trips until things don't go according to plan. That's when everyone, you know, starts freaking out. But as far as Moses Itauma goes, he's on the WBO. Did he earn that necessarily? No. But I think he has to show why he belongs there since he didn't earn it. You know, they said the same thing about Philip Hergovic. And Daniel Dubois, you know, well, hey, why was the IBF championship belt, you know, given to Daniel Dubois? Because Daniel Dubois, I feel, beat Hergovic. Hergovic, it was supposed to go to him. If he would have beat Daniel, it would have went to him. So they still fought at some point for the belt, and I think that particular fight deserves that. Cool. The WBO, it should be the same. So if Moses fights Philip Hergovic, dispatches Philip Hergovic, Philip Hergovic's #2, and I don't think people would dispute him being #2. So guess what? If he takes out #2, there should be nothing wrong with being #1. But you guys tell me what you think of Moses Itauma moving to the #1 ranked on the WBO end. Of course, please subscribe And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.